Hi everyone, welcome to Sue's Day. I'm Sue Ann Jafarian, the fat woman driving the novel RV. Happy Valentine's Day to you. I'm actually not filming this on Valentine's Day, but about a week ahead. Because it's such a glorious day out and I wanted to film it outside. But you'll be seeing it on Valentine's Day and I'll be in a different campground in a different state. Today I want to talk about the topic of loneliness because I really believe that this is one of those commercial holidays that causes a lot of people to feel really lonely. If you don't have a romantic partner, today can be hard on you. And that brings up two of the questions I get asked the most on the road. One is about security, and that's a different topic. And one is about loneliness. I get asked all the time if I get lonely being a woman traveling alone in places I'm unfamiliar with. Yes, sometimes. Sometimes I do feel a little lonely. Sometimes I do wish I had my friends around me or was at a meetup with a lot of people I knew. But for the most part, I enjoy traveling alone. I've kind of always been a loner in my life, so it's not new. And I don't feel crippling lonely. I mean, we're talking about once in a while, I'll feel lonely and I'll pick up the phone and I'll call a friend or text somebody, friends or family, and we'll chat a bit and it lifts my spirits considerably. And it's interesting that sometimes when I've picked up the phone to call a friend, they might say they're so glad I called because they were feeling a little blue. So you're not always the only one that's lonely. Sometimes when you call to get support, you're also giving support to somebody on the other end of that line. But loneliness can be a problem for a lot of people on the road. There are a lot of people who suffer from crippling loneliness. I mean, depression caused from loneliness. And if you're one of those people and you feel that way living in a stationary home, that's not necessarily going to change when you get on the road. It might actually make it worse. I'm going to say it again. This is probably the umpteenth time I've said it, but this life isn't for everyone. And if you're somebody who has a hard time being alone, or you're not confident, or you're not comfortable in your own skin, this might not be the life for you. It might be a life that you think you want, but maybe emotionally and mentally you are not ready for. So think about that if you're thinking about getting on the road. For those of us who are on the road, we find ways to cope with loneliness. I know a lot of people who travel in caravans. Maybe it'll be 2 rigs, maybe it'll be 6. And sometimes I think women do that for security, but not always. Sometimes they do it because they want the companionship. And that's okay. That works for them. And everybody gets a lot of company and fun, and it's like a rolling meetup in a way. For me, though, I prefer traveling alone for the most part. I don't mind spending 2 weeks in a campground where I only speak to maybe 1 or 2 people in passing as they ride by on their bike, or the camp host as they, go by in their little buggy and wave hello. I'm okay doing that. But I do go to meetups periodically and see my friends. I let people know where I am, and I always have an open door policy that if any of my Travato friends are in the area and want to stop by, great. One of my friends, Peggy, stopped by last week here. She spent the night in one of the sites and we visited, and that was fabulous. But for the most part, I'm alone. I have my work, and I just enjoy the peace and quiet. Now, that doesn't mean I never travel with other people. Last winter and early spring, I I traveled for 4 months with Stacy, one of my BFFs who has a Travato like mine. And we had a great time. I mean, we really had a great time and saw a lot of neat things. But when she went back home, she's been off the road this year. I've been on my own traveling since, and it's been cool. Like I said, I can reach out and text and call people whenever I want, barring time zone changes. So it's all good. Now, Stacy and I are planning a big trip for 2023. It's going to start probably in late May. We're calling it Stacy and Sue's Great Adventure 2023. And we're going to be traveling together for quite a few months. And I can't wait. It's going to be so much fun. But let me tell you this, if you're thinking about traveling with somebody, make sure it's somebody you know you can travel well with. I know I can travel well with Stacy. Neither of us are very clingy, and we're very honest with each other about when we need time alone, and the other is very understanding of that. There are times when one of us will say, I want to go off and do this, and maybe the other won't, and we're okay with that. So make sure if you do travel with other people that they're comfortable to travel with for you. So anyway, that's about loneliness. I do get lonely, but it's manageable. I reach out to my friends and family. I'm thinking that before we had all this technology, people who were traveling solo had a much harder time of it. Not just for the connectivity, but also just, their rigs weren't as upscale as we have. But anyway, just remember, today is Valentine's Day, and instead of making it a commercial holiday and maybe feeling bad because you're not with somebody romantically, reach out to somebody and tell them you love them. You don't have to be romantically involved with somebody to love them. So tell them you love them. Meanwhile, my Valentine is a little black cat named Moxie. My Valentine meows, and I'm okay with that. So, this is me telling you Happy Valentine's Day. And I hope you'll come back next week, next Tuesday, and do have a good week. And if you like this channel, please subscribe. Thank you.